So the big question, will Trump's tariffs screw Tesla? If so, how much? As I've mentioned previously, and turned out to be correct, imagine that the primary purpose of the tariffs that Trump has imposed internationally, especially those on China, after they found out by effing around when warned not to retaliate, are not intended to remain in place forever at current levels. What they are is an immense amount of pressure to cause pain, to bring countries that have been ripping off the US to the negotiating table. And let's be clear, folks, the pressure won't just be applied directly from the US onto foreign countries via financial pain. The pressure will also be applied to those foreign countries from within. Imagine you're, let's say, for example, a seller of products from China and 40% of your revenue comes from the United States, and Trump has slapped a massive tariff on your product. Who are you going to be pissed at? Trump or your government for refusing to come to the negotiating table? Food for thought. So I want to be clear, this stuff is all temporary. The real purpose is to bring countries to the table to negotiate. That said, over the short term, some countries and some companies will be affected more than others. Today, the Trump administration has announced a few exceptions, some exemptions from the reciprocal tariffs currently imposed, which by the way are absolutely brutal, perfect way to apply pressure to China. This via Sawyer Merritt on X. So here are the products, items, parts, etc. that are exempt from these reciprocal tariffs. Smartphones, laptops, printer and copier parts, semiconductor chip manufacturing equipment, parts for semiconductors, CPUs and memory chips, networking devices. So in other words, long story short, right, a bunch of tech, electronics and computer stuff. Data storage, media, diodes, low power transistors, other transistors, bunch of other shit for semiconductors, flat panel TVs, all kinds of LEDs, solar cells, and solar panels. The post continues. The items excluded from Trump's reciprocal tariffs under the new guidelines are retroactive for products that have left the warehouse by April 5th, 2025. Now, of course, I'm not surprised to see this. Two reasons. First and foremost, as I mentioned recently, Trump's not going to do anything that causes companies or entire industries to absolutely implode or destroy the US economy. It wouldn't take long with triple-digit tariffs imposed on these kind of products, smartphones, laptops, electronics, anything to do with semiconductors, etc., for there to be serious pains and massive consequences. You know what hasn't been exempted? I'm just going to say it. The cheap shit, and I don't mean shit in a derogatory term, I just mean cheap shit, produced in China. This is going to cause crazy pressure from within China, from people who sell this stuff internationally, have great businesses, by the way, I'm all for it, to get China to the negotiating table. These are key things that China does well ahead of, much better, much more affordably than anyone else on earth, by far. But how will Tesla be impacted? Some of the stuff is relevant to their products, although they're very localized in terms of supply chain. But you know what's not on the list, at least now? Batteries. Now, it's true that Tesla produces 4680 cells in the US, but, and by the way, they also produce in collaboration with Panasonic some cells in the US, but they also buy a fuck ton of battery cells from
China.
And there's going to be some pain. Their mega packs are extremely profitable products right now, as far as I'm aware, and according to Sawyer, the cells in those currently come from China. That's going to hurt, at least for now. I suspect, though, there's probably going to be a second wave of exemptions, and I suspect a few things relating to battery will appear. Bill Ackman has rightly pointed out, quote, "The exemptions are an olive branch by Donald Trump to China, an opportunity to begin de-escalation." And he's absolutely right. Trump's made the first concession now, meaning the leadership in China, who haven't really known how to start the negotiating process, have been too prideful. Say, oh, look at that, a concession. Well, yeah, now we're willing to talk. Let's hope they have enough sense. This may not be the last olive branch. In short, expect some short-term pain for Tesla, at least in their automotive and energy storage businesses. However, an interesting note here. Sawyer posting US battery vehicle registrations in the first quarter, which were up 10.6% year over year. The strong growth continues. Sawyer noting that some of the, quote, registration numbers regarding Tesla that are published by Cox can sometimes be on the low end, but regardless, these are in order. Number 1, Tesla Model Y. Number 2, Tesla Model 3. By the way, these are the most made in US vehicles, and they're going to be the least affected by tariffs, especially with no exemption on batteries and other bits and pieces. Just putting that out there. And look at the difference in numbers. Model Y selling meaningfully more units than the Model 3. However, there was the changeover and a loss of production. So when this is fully ramped up, this is going to be sky high. Even so, number 3, a pitiful 11,607 units, roughly 20% that of the Model 3, which itself is probably going to be half, a third, even a quarter of Model Y after the refresh is fully ramped up. Then we've got the Chevy Equinox, just over 10,000, and then the rest of them, not even 10,000 units in the whole fucking quarter. So other than Tesla's vehicles, the majority of these products, these electric vehicles in the US, in the whole first quarter, selling less than 100 units per day. In the whole country, Wow. Tesla's own Cybertruck not pulling huge numbers either, although the recently announced long-range version, $10,000 more affordable than any other Cybertruck you can buy today. Probably going to move the needle. Meanwhile, Rivian R1S just over 5,000. Model X, rest in peace. So, what is the point here? Tesla has scale. The two best-selling electric vehicles in the US by miles, no contest, and they're actually making them profitably. And their supply chains are the most localized of any of these cars. So, imagine if your cost to produce an electric vehicle goes up, roughly in proportion to how much of that is not localized. The company will be the least affected is twofold. The company whose products have a supply chain that's most made in US, which will be Tesla, and the company is currently making the most / any at all money selling their electric vehicles. In short, the losses made by companies like Ford and GM on their electric vehicles are going to mount. It's terrible for them and great for Tesla in context. Remember, Tesla doesn't exist in a vacuum. These companies are either going to need to massively increase prices on their vehicles, at least temporarily, or just stop making them. Alternatively, they could keep selling them at the same prices for even larger losses, but that's probably not sustainable. Jeff Lutz added some context here. The next 4 on this list, which we looked at after the 3 and Y, are competitors assembled outside of the US and are essentially toast with 25% tariffs on them. And Tesla now has a fully ramped Model Y, the new one, right, the refresh. And importantly, new, more affordable models are coming too. Jeff also pointing out that this more than cancels the, quote, brand damage concerns. Yeah, I think the, quote, brand damage concerns are actually just examples of some people suffering from brain damage, not going to lie. It is always important to understand Tesla does not exist in a vacuum. They don't exist in a bubble. There's a lot of moving pieces here. And if you just look at the impact on Tesla and forget that they actually exist on Earth, you go, oh, that's not great. Costs might go up a little bit, or especially over the short term. That sucks. But when you look at the bigger picture, zoom out a little bit, bro, this is just going to force many of Tesla's so-called competitors to scale back even more when they should be aggressively increasing production, driving the cost down and innovating. In summary, while Trump's tariffs are a negotiating tool, remember they're not going to stay in place at these levels permanently. There'll be more olive branches, reductions, etc., more concessions. The whole goal is to get people to the table to negotiate. So they won't be here forever. But that said, while they are in place, expect some short-term financial pain in Tesla's, quote, automotive and energy storage businesses. But as I keep pointing out recently, who fucking cares, bro? Robotaxi is launched in Austin in June. And Tesla's autonomy business is going to carry the company so hard. There could be 1,000% tariffs on everything coming out of China. It wouldn't affect Tesla whatsoever. That's how much money Robotaxi will be making a few years from now. Don't say I didn't warn you. So in short, in summary, will Trump's tariffs fuck Tesla? And the answer is yes, but gently, to the point where Tesla's going to be like, harder, daddy, harder. And the tariffs are going to be saying, yeah, no, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. No. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.